favorite gladiators and really kind of follow their careers and watch them fight. Also, the reference to Macedonian is interesting. Gladiators usually are slaves, and so they can be brought from anywhere in the empire to fight somewhere completely different.
Usually, but not always. There are some gladiators that became gladiators by choice. Maybe if you were like indebted, if you had a massive debt and you're like, I don't know how to pay it, you just go and become a gladiator. It didn't happen very often, but it did happen. Of course, she only said often, so she's correct. Retiarius. Let's go. Yeah. The fisherman.
You certainly do get instances in which gladiators that are armed to different extents are put up to fight against one another. But the ideal is always that it is essentially a fair fight, because that makes it much more fun for the audience to watch.
Yeah, this was actually a combination. The idea of a retiarius, he would have still a little protection, but yeah, net and trident versus a big guy who would also have a shield called a Murmillo, who was a heavy class gladiator. They were often matched. Not always. Sometimes he's retiarius against secutor. That's another one, another type, the one with the smooth kind of brass or bronze helmet with the two eyes like this. That was in fact an optimized. Let me tell you this much. The reason why they changed the pairing, the matching between that used to be Retiarius versus Murmillo and then it becomes Retiarius versus Secutor, is because basically in gaming sense, they nerfed it. Because the problem was that the helmet of the Murmillo, which represents the fish, right? Because the Murmillo is the fish. That's why the Murmillo is fighting against the Retiarius, who is the fisherman. There is a symbolism there. So the helmet is representing the fish, and he has these, I'm sure you've seen them, kind of similar to this, but this looks horrible, whatever. The problem is that the net would get caught on the helmet very easily, which made it relatively easy really simple for the Retiarius to control and make it a problem for the Murmillo to fight in a natural way. And that was seen as unbalanced by the Romans. This is a game, right? Gladiatorial games. Hence, just like we do in modern gaming and we nerf stuff with a patch, they patched it and they took the Secutor, who is pretty much dressed and armed like a Murmillo, but his helmet is optimized because it's oval and it's smooth so that the net doesn't catch that easily. That's what happened, and it's fascinating. She's wearing purple,
okay,
man.
So
that
we
would be.
See this group of very well-dressed attendees all sitting together in essentially the good seats at the front, and that was certainly something that happened. Suddenly in the Colosseum in Rome, the best seats were reserved for the imperial family, for visiting dignitaries, for the Vestal Virgins,
patricians.
And the kind of best layers of seating were reserved for the senators and then for the wealthy equestrian class.
I don't remember what happens. I haven't seen it in a while.
And we can also hear this really kind of rowdy booing and cheering, and that was suddenly a huge component of any form of spectacle in the ancient world. So these sorts of spectacles were actually seen as a place for kind of communication between the people and their rulers. By booing or cheering, the people could let the emperor know what they thought of them at any given time.
Look at that scale. Hey guys, this is exactly what I did when I played Oblivion. I maneuvered around and the guys were running after me, chasing me. That's so fun. It's exactly what I did. Dreadful.
Tongues, wren's livers, chaffinch brains.
True.
So here we meet our protagonist, Brian, who is a local Judean man who is currently selling snacks, pretty unappetizing ones, in the amphitheater.
Unappetizing. Oh yeah, in the movie, yeah. So the fact that they would have lunch breaks is actually documented in the sources. They would. And then not only they would eat probably good stuff, in this case it's funny of course, but they would eat stuff that would be great for the Romans. Then what would happen is that during these lunch breaks, to still entertain the public, they would have sometimes gladiatrix, so female gladiators. Other times they would have maybe more choreographed fights as well.
Wolf nipple chips, get them while they're off, they're lovely. Dromedary pretzels only half a dinar.
Wolf nipple chips. Yeah, he's not selling them. So I think this is meant to be kind of weird Roman delicacies. I haven't come across any of those particular ones in my research. The Romans obviously did have some delicacies that we would now view as very strange. They loved a stuffed dormouse.
Ostrich.
They ate ostrich.
Max Miller, my man, you've been summoned.
They thought that those were kind of great exotic dishes. I don't think those sorts of dishes would have been on offer in an arena like this. They were much more the preserve of elite banquets. Food, however, was a really important part of the
Yeah.
spectacles, and it would very often be given out for free by the sponsor of the games.
Absolutely.
So we have references to people being given bread, wine.
Bread and circuses, am I right?